This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hope you am audible to everyone around. If someone is not able to hear me, you can actually put it on the chat also. Is everyone able to hear me? Then I think yes, we will start with this meeting. Thanks for joining this meeting, and I know this is a very crucial time where we are all sitting at home, and the quest for knowledge for senior folks like us has to be increasing. So I thought, why don't I start presenting on something what we've been doing very well for the last 2-3 quarters from Catnip Infotech, and just wanted to take this time to present it to all the people. And to start with, we are going to see on a very hot upcoming topic, which is I wouldn't say a topic, a solution which is being used very well in today's scenario, which is called as robotic process automation. So going into slide number 2, I think we have started, time is 4:30 and we have started dot on, and I'm sure I wouldn't take more than 30-35 minutes for the presentation, and post which we'll be having a good Q&A session for all of us. And I know most of the people joined here would be having a lot of queries, and it might not be your line of business or your current scheme of things which you'll be doing it now, but going forward this might be your your business as usual, or you will be taking up profiles in this solutions also. Maybe we can just start it as such. So going into slide number 2, okay, what is this we are talking about on slide number 2, right? One second. Okay, so you can see that on 12 hours, the 500 and 1000 rupee note got totally invalid in the Indian currency system, financial system. That's something what change can be as disruptive as possible. And in last 15 years, 52% of Fortune 500 companies have disappeared. I think we have all seen it. Most of the people in this crowd have used it. As a great example is a BlackBerry phone. Today we don't see them anymore. Had they embraced Android as a technology earlier, they would have lived it very well. Something similar to the Nokia also. So what it talks about is one must change according to the changes. Otherwise the changes will change us, right? So going on to slide number 3, right? Now let's see how our lives have changed. The picture on the right hand side talks about very simple as we had on the internet side, Amazon's, Flipkarts of the world getting over the e-commerce platform. One wanted to go through, Uber has come, Netflix has changed the way we are seeing movies. And so what does it mean? It means that any process which has been earlier done in a way has to change now, and that is the key funda of automation first era. So what is meant by automation first era? Before that there were 6 eras which we have crossed through. It starts as simple as the mainframe era, then goes into the personal computer, then talks about the GUI, graphical user interface era, then the internet, then mobile comes mobile, and last cloud, right? Now the 6th era, cloud, is also kind of saturated. Then where are we talking about? The 7th era is where the cloud, that or the arrow is pointing, is the automation first era. So what is that which automation first era is talking about? Any process that can be automated will be automated. It's as simple as that, right? So now I just wanted to do a simple thing here, right? I want to everyone to come in and have your thought process in terms of saying that why don't you guys talk about what do you think as automation, and your ideas about automation in terms of how it could be done, and how it can actually help people. Maybe if we can have a small session which we can just have a small interaction. So I'm going to unmute the line, and anyone who has some thoughts on this, if you can do that, that will be great. Are you going to unmute the line to the people?
It's stuck here. What have you done?
Okay, so now I'm sorry, a small glitch. So anyone has any questions in terms of what do you mean by this automation first era, and you want to have some thought process onto this? Maybe I'm just trying to make it as casual as possible and as interactive as possible. Any thought process in terms of what do you understand by this automation first era, and I want to make it as open up as possible. Any thought process? Anyone? I've unmuted the lines. Okay, so I'm just going back and muting everyone so that we will start this discussion. I'm sure that everyone wants to listen to the sessions. Okay, so let me take this one step backward in terms of how we have looked at it. Let's say, for example, we wanted a process where we are all typically people who are in the service industry or in the sales industry, and let's say we had to send a mailer to more than 100 to 150 odd clients where we had to talk to them about our presentation, our solution. What we would be doing earlier, we would be kind of taking each and every mail ID, sending it separately, or we will just put in a tool which will do mass mail. But what if that mass mail, putting all these IDs one together, making everyone in BCC is not really attractive? It is always great that we do a one-on-one mailer. But this one-on-one mailer would want us to perform the operation, same operation 200 times. What if I just don't want to do that operation 200 times? What can I do? That's the way simple as possible, that I will just use a bot who would do the same job as it was Santosh who's doing the job. That's simple, period. This is called a simplest automation which is possible. Now, what are the complex automations? I think we will go one by one to know what are those complex automations. But before that, let's get into the next slide. Why robotic process automation and why today? See, I think the slide is self-explanatory. It simply says that 20 years of automation technologies, we are still using a lot of things which is manual, right? A simple example, let's say we do a business wherein we send an invoice to a customer. That invoice is still being received manual, and there is one person who is sitting and who is taking all the data and invoicing and entering into the ERP system or SAP system. What if I can remove that manual entry and I can automate it by default? A vision, what we can see is enabling human intellect to achieve greater things by taking the robot out of the human. That is the right point, which is the crux of RPA, removing the robot out of the human, which means doing the same old job time and again, I would just offload it to a robot which will do it. This is why RPA is required. Now, why now? Why not earlier? Guys, there has been a lot of automation which has been happening. But why now? It's as simple as that. Today, we have got so much technology and infrastructure advancement that RPA is a real possibility. Going into the next slide, right? Now, yes, we have thought, okay, fine, we are going into RPA. Now, how business can function in this automation first era, which means now that I've understood that I have to go into the path of an RPA. How big industry it is? It's more than $1 billion industry. What all process can be automated? We're going to get in 80% of every organization's process can be automated. But where should I start the journey? I'm good, right? I've learned RPA. I know what is RPA, but where should I start the journey, right? This is where I just want everyone around to, again, I'm unmuting. Is there any point where we can start, we can have a discussion, right? Guys, whoever is attending, I just wanted to have the participation. I'm just unmuting this session. Can we have a small discussion on where do you think the RPA journey can start? Any suggestions?
Yes, hi Santosh, this is Chaitanya here. No, it can start right from attendance monitoring system to the HR processes to the joining, relieving. I would relate it to mostly with the HR processes, if you ask me to start with.
Very good, Chaitanya. HR process is one of the contender. It starts as simple as you doing an email automation. A simple example, like for example, someone comes and tells us, right? Someone is coming and saying, I need a laptop, a 14-inch Dell monitor laptop, right? If that mail which comes in, I can use a bot to convert that mail and create it as a ticket in the system where a simple ISR, inside sales rep, take the ticket, creates a code and sends it to the customer fast enough, right? Or I can also use, instead of the ISR, I can still also use the bot to do that. So this is the way, innovative way in which you can create a lot of bots. And I'm really appreciating Chaitanya that HR is one of the process which can be done, because it's the same thing which is, and in fact, as a matter of fact, we have done, and I would, post which I would also call upon my colleague to showcase one of the demos where we have done an automation for HR onboarding process, where every day as an employee, first day of your joining, we fill more than 18 forms, right? In fact, when I was in IBM, I used to, it took almost 6 to 8 hours of my time in filling up. Let's say if I can reduce that 8 hours of day one joining into 30 minutes, and let's say there were at least 200 people who joins in a week. Now 200 into 30 minutes is what we're talking about, a huge number of savings. So these are something which an RPA can automate, right? Any more questions? Any more suggestions, team? Thanks, Chaitanya.
Hi, this is Sudeep. So I had a question regarding this RPA. Like, how is the backend moving, and how customizable it is? Like, for example, there is a certain requirement and like customization required. Then how scalable and customizable it is, and the backend
It
how
is.
it works. That is my
So
question.
that very nice question. So that it all depends on process to process. So that the reason why I wanted to get all these questions is we have answers to all this in the coming presentation. I don't want the people coming here just to see the presentation and go. So which is why we wanted to make it as interactive as possible. First question to you is how customizable it is. It is as much customizable as your processes. If your process has so much amount of repetitive task, that much customizable it is in RPA. A simple example, let me tell you. Let's say something like a report generation. All you have to do is you just have to go to a database of your procurement or the SAP database. Just click on take the report and take certain fields out of it and create a separate Excel sheet and give it to your management and create a dashboard or a pie chart out of it. This was what
Okay,
a job of an
okay.
analyst.
One second, I want to interrupt. I got that, but why should I go for a robot automation when I can write a Python code for doing the same thing, right? That also does the automation. Suppose if I want to do
Very
automation from
nice question.
like I can go connect to the database and do a visualization, connect to a Power BI, Tableau, or whatever visualization thing, right? So why I should go for automation for doing that task when I can
So
do
that
write a customizable code?
you're given the answer by yourself. You said you have to go connect with Python, connect with Tableau, connect with Power BI, write it on your own and do it. This all
Yes,
requires 4 or 5 different
like
technologies integrating together
okay,
and giving it to you.
okay,
Instead, a simple RPA can do 1 minute. So that I'm just answering.
okay,
A simple RPA, it's not just about one job. It is
okay.
about, like this, there are 25 other jobs, which is what I'm coming back in my slides, which will say that in procure to pay, in a finance and accounting profile only, there are more than 42 processes which could be automated in any enterprise. Now, see, RPA is not something that people have invented like a greatest thing. It has been there. It is all about like packaging and putting things in the much more easier format for you to do executable. Let's say, for example, what is RPA? When it's talking from a language of UiPath, UiPath is nothing but user interface. What a user interface is doing, if I'm able to have a robot copy paste and do the same thing as what a user interface can do, that's what is RPA. But there are other technologies which goes beyond it. As you rightly said, we can do Python, we can do Power BI, and we can do other codes, and we can get this job done. Getting the job done is one. It's all about efficiency and effectiveness. You're talking about effectiveness, I'm talking about efficiency. It's like this traveling from, I'm in Bangalore, let's say traveling from Electronic City to MG Road, it takes 30 minutes in car. It also takes same 4 hours while walking, right? Effectively I have traveled the distance, but efficiently have I? That's the exact point. So using open source is absolutely possible wherever whoever has the ability. But do you think we have so much amount of manpower, bandwidth, and time to do it? Instead, RPA is all about like plug and play solutions. Just start and do it. It's not plug and play. It is basically you have to put the process, train the bot. Once you train the bot, it happens.
Okay, so when you say train a bot, means that you will be giving, I didn't get how exactly that means, training a bot.
Exactly. I will look at your process, and let's say, for example, there is a process. I will look at the process. I will make the process work around, and I will assess the complexity of the process, and then I will be giving a certain clear metric saying why this process has to be automated, because there are so much jobs, and there are certain processes which can be automated. There are certain processes which cannot be automated, right?
Okay, so
Why
you said
something?
that, okay, you said that 42 process can be automated, right? So like if something that is beyond those, then RPA doesn't have the solution for it. Is it true? Or
No, I'm just saying in one simple finance and accounting as one simple line of business has 40 odd processes which could be automated.
Okay, I
Now,
got
who
it.
on earth would have thought through that 40 processes within finance and accounting can be automated?
Right. That makes sense.
Now consider, see, that's what I'm telling you, right? Again, in RPA, it is like you should look at a matrix, 2x2 or 3x3 kind of a matrix. Now in RPA, there are 2-3 different things. One is I can do process automation of my regular job. What is a regular job? Basically, support functions, HR support function, as Chaitanya was mentioning, support functions in terms of my IT support functions. These are all a BAU, any organization will do it. I can also do RPA with the business centric. For example, how can I use RPA in terms of banking and finance? How can I do RPA in terms of SAP, ERP and SAP? How can I do RPA when it comes to legal forms? So it is all about like, I have to find the process which will fit in, first do it, right? Which is where exactly in this slide, if you see, going back on the right hand slide, it talks about find the best human and the robot mix for the job to be done. Before getting the left hand side, I'm talking about first slide is no robots, 100% all work is manual. Second side is attended interval. What does it mean? Human involves robot at defined intervals. A simple example, call center robot. It kind of pulls out the information. Or a very simple example, like let's say a call center agent, like me, someone is talking, right? And I have a robot which will convert the talk, whatever I'm talking, into the data. And within that, I can also train the robot in certain keywords which I would have mentioned, right? That will take that keywords and put it into a database with a separate call ID. Now, what has happened? That has saved 10 minutes of my time. After I've spoken, I have to take the data, then I have to read in the system. Instead, the 10 minutes is saved. Now, 10 minutes per call if it is saved, and if I'm doing 50 calls per day in a call center, 50 is very small, they would be doing 100 and 120. Now, per person, now consider how many persons. That is where the saving actually comes in. That's called attended interval. So here is where you can put a robot in action where human tells the bot when it has to work. Now, second is attended in tandem. What does it mean? It is basically human on computer with robot. It is like you and your colleague working together. Same way, a human with a bot working together. Simple as HR robot works. Like as I said, onboarding process. Now that I have done, I have created a smart sheet. Let's say, for example, let's say I'll just take an example of Chaitanya again, right? Mr. Chaitanya is, let's say, trying to join a company, and I am the HR there. Before joining, I will just give a small Excel sheet, a smart sheet to Chaitanya saying fill all the details and give it to me. Now, the moment Chaitanya fills all the details and give it to me, I don't know till the day Chaitanya joins, I don't know whether he is coming or not. Let's say the day he has joined, he has reached office. What I would do as a HR is I would just go ahead in that Excel sheet. Last column, I will just say, run the bot. Once I run the bot, all the documents related to Chaitanya, which have to be there, will fill in everything. There might be places which will be left out is where he has to sign, and certain data which has to be filled in hand. Remaining all will happen. Once that is done, the whole thing is given. So now I and bot work together. I'm not telling bot just to do it. So now let's say Chaitanya is there. Somewhere, let's say 50 people are there. So I will keep running the bot time and again, time and again. The moment everyone comes, whole single 18 document given to Chaitanya, he will sign it. The moment it is signed, what I will tell again is, the moment Chaitanya is signed it, I will then again instruct the IT team to go ahead and create a mail ID. The moment mail ID is created, as a head, I will again instruct the bot to go and inform this to admin team, so that admin will go and create a space for them. Now you see, a single bot has done 6 jobs. One is HR, to IT, to admin. And then from admin, it comes back to IT for assigning of laptops. And then from there, it goes back to HR saying the job is done. Then once I'm done with it, as an HR, again, I will go ahead and inform the background verification person to verify his documents, whatever is submitted is original or not. Now consider how much work I have done at the back end using bot. This is called attended in tandem. Then the third one comes as hybrid. Basically, attended process uses humans computer to kick off unattended background process. For example, service rep turns on a robot to delete customer data from multiple databases. This is one of the process where it goes to the next level, where it's all about like you're using the bot to convert certain things. I can give you a very simple layman example. Let's say IT team is there and there are 200 or 300 users who are there. You want to go and apply an antivirus patch, right? You can go ahead and tell the bot that, Mr. Bot, at night 12 o'clock on a Saturday night, please put the antivirus patch to 100 virtual machines, whichever is there. Now all the 100 VMs which are there will be done. Antivirus patch will be installed, right? Then you have the partially unattended and the next is fully unattended. So this is how you can introduce a RPA into any process. Now we have told about RPA introducing into any process on the right hand side. Now come to the left hand side. We have all done so much of technical talking. We should start somewhere. So this is where we should start in any organization, how to start RPA. There must be a pilot, there must be, I think we are all experienced people, we know how it already typically starts, a pilot or a POC, from there scaling it up. Once it scales, then comes a transformation. The transformation is how the top management sees as automation first mindset. Now you see here, we have moved from keywords like automation first era to automation first mindset. Now the top management says whatever can be automated, let us automate. Then what happens is those people who are involved in doing the same old repetitive mundane jobs now can look at either they can be sent off or they can look at moving in to a next level where they can put their minds to work. Then obviously extending. So at last, the biggest question is, it's not about whether we embrace it or not. It's all about how fast we are going to go. And out of all these 15, 16 attendees here, are you going to be the next citizen developer? So what is meant by the citizen developer? It's nothing but to see this technology is growing good, right? Most of the people here are using it or not using it. How fast we become one of those evangelists who is talking about it, using it, or helping customers or our society to transform using the bots. That's what is called a citizen developer, right? Going on to the next slide, let's get into the RPA adoption curve. So what do you mean by this RPA adoption curve? RPA adoption curve, it states 73% of the overall people who have adopted are very satisfied and entirely with the way they have given in the ROI. Now, I think Mr. Sudeep, you had asked me one simple question, that what process to automate, how I can do it. This is the answer for that. Anything which is highly manual and repetitive, rule-based process, right? If A plus B is equal to C, then say D as an answer, right? This kind of rules which can be done, which can be automated. A very, very simple example. Let's say I just I was working on one of the customers. This is something which they were talking about kind of a solution called this video wall. A video wall solution is nothing but it is a contact center. It's a 100%. I would say not a contact center. It is basically 100% knock center, overall operation center. For example, let's say I am a manufacturing company where I am manufacturing very niche manufacturing niche machines, where and I already have a IoT connected way of getting the data from all these machines installed across places coming onto a central site, which itself is a great advancement. Now, if I do that, and let's say there are 500 installations of me and more than 1,500 machines coming in to a central repository, I can use a video wall to project it, and I can have multiple ways in which I can look at it. So it becomes an operation center which says this machine, which is situated in Jalandhar at this outlet, has a problem which will come in future. So better that we will go ahead and send our person to service it even before it comes in. So basically, it's a proactive support which we guys are talking. Now, in that, let's say we had put in a bot. How can you do it? What is the problem with this kind of a video wall setup? This kind of a contact center? There must be few people who will be sitting and watching this television continuously for 8 to 12 hours. What happens is after second hour, most of them tend to sleep. So the production of the people sitting and watching the television or the video wall itself is gone down. Instead of the people, what if I use a bot? Basically, what this guy is doing, the people is doing, the person who's sitting here is L1 guy. He will only find out if there is a red signal that the temperature, which was supposed to be 0 to 80 degrees centigrade, has gone up to 110. He will immediately go ahead and signal. Instead of these two guys, I'll just put a bot there. The bot will measure me the minimum to maximum. If it is going below minimum or if it is going above maximum, it will immediately tell the information to the team. And what I can also do is, the moment it goes up to maximum, I can also go ahead and create a ticket in my ITSM tool or any other tool or a Maximo tool for us to go and service it. Now the service engineer immediately comes ahead, gets to know that there's a ticket raised. He will immediately go and sort it out. Now you see how a bot has reduced a person sitting in and who was not doing effectively. And guys, let me tell you something. You'll be shocked. This is one of the place where the customer has really expressed his displeasure in saying that a video wall setup with 2-3 people was not effective because people are not really effective in doing their jobs. It is not the problem with the people. It's not in India. It happened in Singapore. It's not problem with the people. It is a problem with the people sitting in and doing it, right? And so, having said this, this is how we see the way in which automation anywhere or UiPath or Blue Prism kind of technologies can help you out. And there are also a lot of other things. Now, having talked about this, right? What do you think that going to the next slide, I want to open it up to people to see how does this affect in business transformation. So I'm kind of unmuting it, right? We spoke about why am I doing, what am I doing, where is the fitment? How do you think it is affecting in business transformation? Any idea, any thought process, guys? Anywhere you want to come in and have a small discussion on this?
Yeah, obviously, time to market would actually increase substantially.
Right, then.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a last question for RPA, right? So let's take an example. There is a health domain, right, where people are opting for RPA. So that's a very sensitive domain, right? So they are trying to automate things. So how accurate is RPA when they are trying to automate things?
See, let's simple. RPA is as accurate as the data is, right? RPA is not doing anything on its own. It is representing or redoing the thing what is being done. So it's a process automation. It's not data collection, right? So when it comes to the medical field, wherever you're talking about, we are the people who are telling what to automate.
Okay.
And we are the people who are saying, Mr. RPA, here is the source. Here is the destination. Take the data from the source, put it onto the destination, automate it and give it to me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We are not going ahead and doing anything else other than this. Point is very simple, right? RPA is all about doing a repetitive job. Whatever is there, it is being done now, right? Repetitive job, what you have been doing continuously, is now taken out by a machine, right? So what data has to take from where and what has to be converted upon, which has been clearly defined, it will happen. So essentially accuracy is unmatched as long as the source, destination, the process is being proper, right folks? So what I wanted to say here was business transformation. Here we are talking about is without RPA, a 5,000 people with a cost of $75 million was doing a transaction of 10 million transaction. With RPA, same 5,000 has come down to 3,500 people with 500 bots. From now on, we will call RPA as digital workforce. Instead of saying RPA is a solution, and instead of saying bot, we'll call it as a digital workforce, right? Digital workforce with plus 5,000, 3,500 people at a cost of 50 million, which is basically 25 million has already been accrued. We are giving 30 million transaction, which means there is a saving of 25 million upfront. On top of it, it is 3x the amount of transactions, which is 3x the revenue which has happened. That's the kind of things with RPA, right? Having said that, RPA is so good enough, right? It is cost competitive, low cost solution, and at the same time improved quality customization. What can be done with this digital workforce on the present and future? Present is all about what we are talking about. I'm talking about, like, for example, I think someone asked me a question on how we can do it, right? Rule-based robotics, front-end automation, right? This is what we are doing. Next step is cognitive. What is cognitive? Something decision-making capacity, right? Then the third thing is analytics. So basically, do a task like a person is where we are starting now. Second is think like a person. Third is analyze like a person, right? This is how the bots are going to take it up. There are places where all the three are being used. There are places where the first one is used. I think the first transformation is start using it, embrace it, then go to the next step. Now, I think we have come to a very, very interesting part of our presentation where, we've been talking about, I've just unmuted, and still I'm going on to the presentation because it can be as interactive. You can stop me anytime. We guys are really talking about something like what are the key day-to-day processes that can be automated through RPA, through the digital workforce. I think this slide talks about minimum 8 transactions. Very simple. Email automation, sales quote, birthday mailers from an HR point of view, right? Payment reminders, right? Very much important for people like us, right? Second one is logging on to certain applications, creating a ticket through ITSM tool. Third one is moving files and folders. Let's say, for example, I'm working with one of the organizations where there are a lot of people, they work on e-auctioning. So which means there are a lot of customers, they give the KYC documents. Now the KYC document which comes in a mail. So you use a bot to get this KYC document from the mail and put it on a separate folder, and also use the bot to run a different file system which will take a backup, right? Synchronization, patch updation of users. Then the fourth thing is copy paste, fill in forms, extract data from all physical forms. Fifth thing is read to databases. Then we talk about sixth thing, calculations, make calculations. Let's say you had a different multiple calculations. Use a bot to make as much amount of. This is good when it comes to seismic, oil and gas extraction, or talking about other huge amount of mechanics related applications, right? Last eighth one is pretty interesting. Pull data from internet. Where is it helpful for me? For example, let's say I'm a person who is in a bank. I'll give an example of, let's say I'm in a syndicate bank. I'm a sales director of syndicate bank, and I want to see that the kind of new scheme which I have launched, is it really the same as, and is it really much better than others? Now for me to do that, I have an analytics engine, but I should pull in the data from internet, right? Who will do it for me? I can use a bot to get as much amount of data about all the other banks from internet, take that, So which means one person, like for example, Santosh is there, I am putting an assistant. That assistant, instead of Ram or Pravin or someone, it just becomes a bot who will pull the data and give it to me, through which I will feed in and I will start doing analytics on top of it. So guys, can't you see that most of your day-to-day process, if I can automate, I think then it has a fitment in most of the places. That's exactly what RPA is. So the aim of the presentation is very simple, that we are demystifying this technology to the simplest concept, right? I am not here taking into how you will deploy a bot, what code you're going to write, what you're not. This is not the aim of the session. Aim of session is as simple as making you understand this technology. Why am I doing what am I doing? If someone is talking about a bot, and if you get to hear it, first of all, do come to us, because we are good in selling as well as servicing. Okay, jokes apart, you can understand this guy is looking on the path of automation. Why is he looking on the path of automation? Why is he doing this? What are the pain points? And maybe you can give him some idea. This is exactly the evangelization which we thought we'll just give it to you. Next sessions might follow on many things else. Now, one good question. Now I'm opening up. Can you think of some process in your current scenario which you can automate? I want some answers from folks. Guys, I think 1-2 people keep coming and joining and leaving out. Can you think of some process where you can automate? Any participation, any answers?
Hi, sir. This is Sandhya. More like any of the repetitive tasks that a human can be doing outside in the industry can be automated, is what I am certainly thinking.
Very good, Sandhya.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are a lot of processes which can be automated, as simple as talking about legal process, as complex as as complex as talking about a legal process, put it that way, or as simple as talking about a KYC form being filled up, giving the details, and let's say for example, instead of me filling up a KYC form that goes in and stays somewhere else, I give my Aadhaar and I give my PAN details. I can use a bot to pick up all the data from there and fill up the KYC form of a bank. It's a simple process, right? Instead of we filling up the KYC, I've just given my, anyway we fill up the KYC, on top of it we give the Aadhaar, we give the PAN, and we give all the documents. Why do that? Instead, just give this to a bot, will come, create it and do it on their own, right? That's a way of doing it. Now let's say for example, on the other hand, let's say we log into a site like Bank Bazaar or policybazaar.com, where we are trying to apply a loan, right? And anyway we are filling the data there. Why don't Bank Bazaar or Policybazaar use a bot to take the data from there and fill it in the bank's loan application, online loan application, instead of us going and typing it? A use case, right? Something similar to this, maybe we can think of multiple other use cases. Going into the next presentation, next slide. Architecture is as simple as there is a bot creator which helps in creating a bot as per the process involved. What process you want to make it, you can create a bot accordingly. This is where Mr. Smith, I think you are asking me how can I customize? You can customize in the bot creator, and then you will have a control room where you can store the bot creator and you can run it through the bot runner. Guys, this is one of the architecture of one of the tools of RPA, like an automation anywhere. There are other architectures available, which is like UiPath and Blue Prism. More or less architecture wise, it's simple. I create a bot based on how I automate, and I run the bot, period. Down below written as operation, analytics, user management, role based. These are all part of any management tool which comes in as a part of it. So getting next slide onto it is we have come mostly to the end of the session, right? There are a lot of other use cases. So we're kind of using this use cases into 3-4 buckets. Bucket number one is functional use cases. How can I use a bot when it comes to IT support? How can I use a bot when it comes to sales, finance and accounting, right? So, functions is like sales, finance and accounting. HR is a function. On the other hand, backend support system is like IT, HR, and employee services, operations. So any organization will have a sales function, finance function. It will have a HR and backend. These are all services which helps people, right? If sales is not there, there is no HR, there is no IT, because there is no revenue, right? So a function is a revenue management or a revenue generation. Support is supporting all those people who are working in. So IT is a support function. I would say HR is a support function. So we have converted into these two. So now these two put together is a backend, or I would say a generic RPA functions, robotic process automation functions in any organization. You take that to be a oil and gas, or a ITS, or a retail, or a manufacturing, or a media and entertainment. Everyone will have an email, everyone will have a HR, everyone will have a finance and accounting, everyone will have a sales. So all these functions related to do it is called as generic. Like in medicines, we have this generic and specialized. Now the next third one, which we talk about industry use case, is where the specialized, like how will I have RPA for a insurance sector? How will I have RPA for a manufacturing sector? How will I have RPA for a legal sector? Then the last one, which we're talking about, is one of the developments, like how can I use integrations of RPA with ML, AI, OCR. I'll give a simple example, I'll tell you folks, right? Let's say I am a big company where I have more than 350 vendors to me, right? And maybe 350 is a small number. Let's say I talk about more than 4,000 vendors. Each and every vendor has a different format. Every vendor has a different format of giving the invoices. Now, on an average, I have more than 1,500 invoices which comes to me, right? And 1,500 invoices are at least more than 350 different types, which I'm assuming 350 vendors are invoicing at least 4 invoices or 3-4 invoices to me a day. Now 350 different invoices, can I use it? So I have already put more than a 30-member invoice processing team for me. Now what if I want to remove it? What can I do? Let's say I have a scanner which is called as a OCR, optical connected reader, right? Using OCR, I get this invoice, I collect this invoice, and I take the data from the invoice what is required. From there, I put it onto something called as a GRN module. What is GRN? Goods Received Note module. Using the data, I then put some amount of logic in terms of understanding how I can reduce. So now what I have done, I have used the RPA. I have also used OCR techniques to scan the invoice. Earlier, this invoice was manually given and I used to go type it. That's why the 30-member team was doing it. Now, the moment invoice comes in, security scans it, whatever data which has to be taken, there is an IQ bot, intelligence in the bot, which helps me in taking the data what I want, be it whatever kind of invoice it may be. Like for example, let's say Chaitanya creates an invoice where the invoice number is on the right hand side. Santosh will create an invoice where the invoice number will be on the left hand side. It doesn't matter. The bot will read it as an invoice number, take the data, fill it up in the module, and create this. Now, this has reduced 30 people to just 4 people working. 26 people have been removed. And number of bots what I've employed might be 3 or 4. Have I not saved? I've saved huge cost. On top of it, the cost of insurance, the cost of seating capacity, the cost of power cooling. Exactly. So these are technologies where I'm not just using a bot, I'm also using the intelligence in the bot, and I'm also using certain additional ML, machine learning. So this is where the use case is all about. I think the fourth use case, I'm reserving it for today because I don't want to enter into it because there are a lot of technology, a lot of debates which can happen, right? I'm going to only look at the first 3 use cases. Looking on to the first 3 use cases, next slide, what we're going to talk about. Okay, folks, before going into the next slide, any questions? I want to open it up. Any questions from anyone?
Hi, sir. This is Sandhya again. So I just had a quick question. Would you brief us about how exactly RPA process will help us in providing analytics and reports? We know a lot of organizations basically, tend to spend a lot of dollars, with respect to creating a report and doing a lot of analysis with respect to that. So how can you pitch an RPA in that particular field? Could you brief us about that?
See, very good, Sadhya. Simple point to it is organizations don't spend too much of dollars in creating a report. Organization spends too much millions of dollars in creating a BI, business intelligence system. Report is
Right.
what is being there is what you created as a report. Now for that, there is a way in which a report can be achieved, which is called as a MIS reports, right? Management
Right.
Information System, MIS reports. The way MIS report they want it in terms of a business intelligence software or a typical, there is something called a ETL DW. ETL is extract, transport, loading, DW data warehousing. The data warehousing tool, there are a lot of open source and also costed ones. There is a way in which you do data warehousing and you do a report. Now, there an RPA comes in as a data which is common, data warehousing, there is a database expert or a data warehouse expert who is there going to create a report. If the data warehouse expert is gone on leave, I still can change it with an RPA by training the RPA bot saying what has to be done, right? There might be 10 reports which has to be worked upon on a data warehouse expert, let's say a DW expert like Sandhya, for example. You have to work on a 15 reports in a day. Out of it, 13 reports are mundane reports which you just have to give it. Only 2 reports require so much amount of brainy stuff which has to happen. Then Sandhya can use a bot to create the 13, whatever you want to do it. She can train it, and that can happen. The remaining 2 Sandhya can work so that your productivity is increasing, and Sandhya is able to give some data back to the management saying that maybe we could do this way so that our production or revenue can be increased and cost can be reduced. It's very simple, right?
Okay.
It's as simple as that. 80-20. 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Now let's say if I remove 80% of the robotic work what you are doing day to day in you, then the remaining 20% what you're going to do is really going to be adding a lot of value. Any
Yeah.
other questions, folks? Any questions?
Yes, Santosh, this is Samir here.
Hmm.
For the example you just gave, most of
Hmm.
the tools predominantly give you this kind of an intelligence. So
Correct.
why would I want to even have an automation in place?
Very good, Samir. The tool
Especially for
gives me
the
an
intelligence, especially for the BI tools. They are meant
Very
to do
good.
that for you, right?
Right. BI tools are meant to give me an intelligence. Now, what if I had to take the report from the BI tool and create the next set of action with it, where I have to go ahead and mail it to some 10 different people saying this is what the additional job which you have to do it. The tool will give me a report. What is the next set of action which I have to do it? There must be someone who has to take that report and work on the same job again and give it to someone, right? I can have a bot. This is very simple, Samir. See, that's what I'm saying, right? Let's getting into the concept. Once you start learning the concept, there are a lot of things. Let's say, for example, I'll give you a very, very simple example, Samir. We've been sales guys. We go and we do a lot of meetings. Now we create a minutes of meeting, right? We write a minutes of meeting. How many times we go ahead and give this minutes of meeting to everyone and then follow up on the minutes of meeting? Something similar, right? If I can have a bot which can record whatever we are talking and can convert it as a document and put it as a minutes of meeting to all the people, one just have to enter the mail ID. And every 2 days later, it can start reminding us, maybe the work is done better, right? Same way, tools are there to create a report. But what is the next step done by a human with that report is something is where an RPA will help you in reducing it. Create a report. You can give it to the stakeholders. RPA can help me in mailing it. Once after it's mailed, there must be some work which has to be done. And that person, has he done or not? I can send a reminder mail. It's as simple as it is connecting the continuity of the process. This is one point which I am taking. There will be many
Fair
other
enough.
points which can be taken in, which we have to see on the genuinity of the application and the business process.
Fair enough. Fair.
Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going back to the slide. This is a very simple example of talking about finance and accounting RPA, a simple concept of procure to pay. what all process which I can automate, right? You can see so many arrows going in, right? It's simple, like PO entry and delivery. I can automate it. Vendor verification setup, vendor queries help desk, vendor master data, invoice receipt and classification, invoice data extraction, accounts payable, vendor statement reconciliation. Guys, this is nothing but there are 15, 16 process which keeps happening in any finance and accounting, right? You can use a bot to do it. It's very simple, right? One of the use cases. Now, let's go to the next use case, which is very much in terms of multiple other things. Like, for example, when it comes to accounts receivable. So let's say, for example, most of the people here are non-finance background people, except for one or two maybe. If a finance person sees it, he will be happy to see so much of the process can be automated. That means his life is becoming a bliss, right? Accounts receivable, general accounting, tax, treasury compliance, financial planning. Now each and every topic has six small process, sub process, which you can automate. Now consider every automation means on an average you're talking about 0.5 to 1 bot. One bot means one license, which will have one bot creator and one bot runner, right? So in this slide alone, we are talking about nearly 24 bots that can be deployed in an enterprise organization. If it has to work 24/7, let's say some has to work only 2 hours in a day, 1 hour in a day, then we can use the timings accordingly. And bare minimum for automating this process, it is talking about at least 6 to 7 or bare minimum 6 to 7 bots which needs to be run. Now consider the kind of market that for this RPA is having in future, right? And each bot, guys, I'm just talking from a commercial point of view, on an average per bot, the yearly subscription goes up to 8 to 10 lakhs, right? It's just the subscription. Now consider the services of implementation. Now we are talking about 8 bots means 80 lakhs per month billing, which means in a year, we're talking about how much? Almost 8 crores now, but 8 crores for an enterprise working on the finance and accounting, maybe it's huge saving because they're able to do things much faster. A simple example, a company which is ready to spend 8 crores on automation of finance and accounting is nothing but they are saving so much amount of crores in GST reconciliation, everything else, which all comes in, right? So now this is where the usage of automation goes high when the volumes go high. Next comes is our favorite topic, sales function automation. Simple things, forecasting, CRM, market client research, campaign management, brand monitoring, lead generation, all these jobs can be automated. Now you guys can come back and tell me what else we can do, right? We could probably take up another more. See, these are the topmost thing which comes in when it comes to sales function. Now the next one comes is there are some few other IT people who have joined it. What can be done when it comes to IT services? The next slide is all about server and app monitoring, maintenance monitoring, batch processing, email process distribution, password reset and log, backup and restoration, right? Now when it comes to employee services, travel expense, contract amendments, employee proof issuing, leave administration, IT return management, EREC tool. EREC tool is like one of the places where I had a customer saying that he had a requirement where there is a tool which they are using for creating a e-requisition for, let's say, for example, we want to buy a laptop for you or a printer, they will go ahead and use this tool. Now they are trying to fill up the data. Now I can use a bot. If this guy is just sending a mail, I can use a bot to take that mail, and EREC tool having a bot to take the data from the mail and fill the tool and give it to them. So whatever certain things we can use it. It all depends on how fast we can use a bot. Then comes general activities like data update, data validation, support functions. Very good usage is ITSM tool. How can I, let's say for example, we don't have users coming and creating a ticket in the ITSM tool. A simple example is I will tell the user is saying my laptop is not working, problem with the laptop. That mail, I can use that mail converted into a ticket by using a bot, right? So these are the applications which we see that can be used, right? Now getting on to this, I think we have come more or less to the last slide. These are the industry vertical use cases. Now we saw about generic use cases, now industry vertical. In insurance, claim processing, report automation, prioritize and assign claims, adjudication process. When it comes to banking, verification audit process, KYC process, bank reconciliation, end of the day job reconciliation, loan processing. When it comes to inventory, healthcare, inventory management, form processing, digital invoice generation, global contracting system, and manufacturing is corporate billing reports, freight, credit underwriting process, sales order, paper mill reporting. So these are multiple things. See, there are a lot of other processes. Just for the sake of this presentation, we have kept it as minimal as possible. I think, guys, more or less we are done with the presentation, right? And I would want to call upon on the team to have any much more larger discussion. Anyone has any questions? I think I'm opening it up, and anyone has a point to add, right? I'm just trying to make it.
Hi, sir. I'm Girish. I have a question.
Yeah, Girish.
Security and governance are also among the most common pushback from IT team to business departments. So, how secure is RPA in providing security to our data?
Very good question, Girish. I think RPA is not something I am trying to do it outside. You can change the system when you are inside the system. Probably a dialogue which we have heard more inside movies and other places, right? RPA is something which can be deployed on your own laptop, which is in the LAN environment, or it can be deployed in a server. So RPA till date, most of the implementation is on-prem. You can also have a cloud, but that cloud is not anything separately. It is a cloud where you can again host your RPA on a AWS or on Azure cloud. So as secure as your Azure AWS platforms or as secure as your internal platform, RPA is going to be secure. It is only automating the process. It is not trying to take over the data. As long as you don't tell RPA to take over the data.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions, guys? See, I just made it as simple and straightforward evangelization session, right? Many people would have thought through saying that you're going to get too deep tech ideas onto it. We just made it as simple because we thought maybe during this time, we will start with this basic, because the biggest problem what I have seen in my experience in the entrepreneurship journey is most of the people talk about technology, but they forget the basics, why the technology exists. So we want to start with this and we want to go forward on multiple other aspects. Any thought process, any comments, and please be open. We are not doing anything high funda training. We're just trying to make as much amount of a community as possible. So any comments you want to give openly, right? If there is something better we can improve, we are ready to do it. And if you would want more sessions, right, we can take up also, and more questions, we are ready to welcome.
Santosh through here.
Yes, Thiru.
So do you need any program skill to manage this one part, like a Python or something like that, or is it just ready to use?
No, kind of a skill in terms of Python or basic development skill is really highly appreciative. But for managing it, you have to know RPA development, which is not tough. As long as you know basic development and other C, C++, Java, certain things you can manage it. But if you want to develop it, there are certain courses which you have to read. Managing is one, developing is, let's say if you want to become an RPA developer, then you have to go into RPA development. Something like advanced master courses are there, and most of these are DevOps oriented, so you don't need to do too much of it. All you need is a good knowledge of the in terms of process knowledge you need to have, and certain basic coding. I think that's more than enough. It's not going to be too complicated enough, but you have to be in it to learn it. You cannot just like that all of a sudden come one day and do it. It has to be learned, and it takes some time. It's not tough, but it can be understood. So it's a new phenomenon, new technology by itself, right? See, it's as simple as the one who knows VMware doesn't mean that he is good in terms of cloud as such, right?
Yeah, I got
Sorry,
it. Santosh, thank you.
Mr. Binoy, sorry, sir. Sorry, TN snacks cannot be provided. I need to know that what is the issue with your other side, so Mr. Binoy, who was one of the participants, was not able to hear it. So we have to see what is this problem. We will take it up. Any other questions, folks? Right.
Hello.
Santosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Who in a particular ITS or would be a point of contact or a go-to person for this conversation?
So Samir, it depends on who you are going to automate. For example, if you want to go and automate on the finance and accounting, the right person is CFO. If you want to automate on the process orientation, the right person is COO. If you want to automate on the IT, then it is CIO, right? And if you want to do some automation when it comes to their business processes, then it comes to the business owners, which is typically maybe the CEO or the sales director there. So if you ask me, there are multiple people who have to be approached for embracing the process with regards to their teams. But when it comes to management, typically, since it runs on the VM, maybe they will say that IT team has to manage it, right? But this managing is only providing a VM. It's nothing more than that. So as you rightly said, it depends on what process, whom you're automating, you have to go and approach that person.
Hello.
Yeah, Praveen.
Yeah. Sir, my question is, how do we calculate ROI for RPA? Like, how do we measure RPA success?
Very good question, Praveen. RPA success is not something that you will get a ROI immediately at some places. You might get ROI later also. See, it depends on very simple, right? Few customers whom I have seen, they have just said that if I have to deploy a bot who will do this job, the bot cost is around 10 lakhs per year and implementation cost is around, let's say, another 3-4 lakhs. Now for supplying this 14 lakhs, and if there was 2-3 resources who were supposed to do this job, and now I have moved out these resources, can I do this with the bot? Now whatever, if that equals, then the ROI is 12 months, because these resources, if they have to stay for 12 months, is when you pay the bot, and ROI is 12 months. Now let's say using the same bot, I'm able to do another 3-4 other jobs which I had not been able to do it earlier. Then the ROI may be 3 months, 2 months. Some places ROI may be immediate. This is all done through something what we do in Catnip specifically called as a bot matrix calculator. It comes as simple as talking about a bot. How can I automate a bot? And what is the process complexity calculation? At the same time, process complexity calculation as well as the ROI calculation, we can work around. Different process might have different ROI, but it is possible. And moreover, not all the processes would be 100% applicable for RPA. Some process might not be even 30% applicable. Those processes are better left. See, that's what I'm saying, right? We are not trying to boil the ocean with the RPA. We are trying to fit RPA where it gets fitted very well. Remaining things, I think the course of action is going to help us out. Others. Thank you. Any questions? Any other questions? So you can ask us straight, simple questions. I know for many it is the first time you are coming in and having a presentation. For many there might be a lot of questions. Guys, please don't think that asking questions is not a asking questions is a bad thing. Ask questions, as much questions as possible. I know many of the people come in here has been presenting to many of the customers. So let's break it off and let's ask questions to learn about it. Maybe 2 or 3 among this 15 odd participants are going to be an RPA experts in the next 6 months. We'll be happy to have those people get associated with those people also. Any questions? Let's open it up for another 5 more minutes.
In the meanwhile, hello everybody. I have also dropped off a feedback form in the chat list. You guys can access that, and please do give us a feedback about how the session happened. Right? Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, one simple challenge. It is for yourself to do it. Why don't you just take a pen and a paper, start writing on those processes which you think you're doing it on a day-to-day basis, and see where you can fit a bot in that. And why don't you just give us a mail or something later, right? Might be interesting for you to see that 60% you could do it, right? Obviously, you guys can't put a bot for brushing your teeth or doing your personal stuff, but technically in the official stuff, basically, it's as simple as the guys, sending a mail, writing a mail to a customer, right? Typically, we will say, yes, sir, we will revert to you. You can still use a bot to do that. I'm just giving an example, right? And jokes apart, there are a lot of processes which can be done, right? At the same time, usage of technology at the right place, at the right moment, saving the right cost is where it is highly appreciated. So I really want to thank you. Before having any more questions, if at all there is, we can open up the house. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, I think we will end this session, and thanks a lot for everyone coming in and really attending this. And I'm really happy that we had a very good attendance list, and maybe next session we will come back to you in a short while with other next set of technologies in terms of what we can do in RPA. And in fact, we do have a live demo which we can present it, but we don't want to take much of your time because 1.5 hours sitting in front of a system itself, it takes a lot of time. We will do this live demo session next thing as a next step, and we will have some more other interesting things to be carried upon. Thanks a lot, folks. Thanks for your time, and I really appreciate all of you coming in, spending your time. It means a lot to us. See you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Sandesh. Bye.